Hello, sports fans. It is Wednesday, June the 11th, the year 2014, and as always, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Great to be back with you guys. Let's start in the NBA, where last night down in Miami, the San Antonio Spurs beat the Miami Heat 111-92. The Spurs take a 2-1 series lead. The series gets flipped again. San Antonio regains home court advantage. What a performance by the Spurs. 76% shooting in the first half, an NBA record. They could not miss. Anything they threw up went in. How about the performance by Green last night? I've never seen him play that good. How about Leonard stepping up? I called out Leonard. I didn't think he had a good game 1 or 2. He was tremendous in game 3. What a job by San Antonio. I mean, they were blistering from the field. Miami did not come to play early in this game. They lacked defensive intensity. Miami's got to pick it up defensively if they want to win this series. You can't start a game like that and have that little defensive intensity. And the Spurs just buried them in the first quarter, and Miami could never catch up. Miami did make a few runs, got it to 7, but they never got over the hump. James had 15 points in the first quarter, ended up with just 22. To me, Dwayne Wade looks like he's laboring. Chris Bosh, only 5 shots. Are you kidding me? 5 shots? What's with Chambers, by the way? He's been terrible in this series. But to me, the big thing with Miami is they have to play better defense. I mean, the Spurs just blistered them. I mean, they could not miss. They did whatever they wanted on the floor. So tremendous win by San Antonio. They flipped the series yet again. Game 4 down in Miami tomorrow. We'll see if Miami can tie it up. I would expect a much better performance from the Heat tomorrow. Also, a couple other NBA notes. Fisher becomes the coach of the Knicks. I'll tell you, listen, we all love Fisher. He was a really nice role player wherever he went, especially with the Lakers, won all those titles. He's never coached in the NBA, so I don't know what to make of him. He's got no experience coaching. I'll tell you what. This Knicks team has a lot of work to do, and that's if Carmelo Anthony stays. Even if Carmelo stays, the Knicks were awful last year. They don't have a first-round draft pick. There's no free agents that they're bringing in. So even if Carmelo stays, the Knicks need all sorts of work. If he leaves, you're talking about building from the bottom up. I mean, they are going to hit rock bottom if Carmelo leaves, because then they're going to have nothing. They're going to have no stars. So Fisher has all kinds of work. Phil Jackson, all kinds of work to do in the front office. We'll keep an eye on that. And by the way, if you want to see some comedy, tune into the post-game interviews after the NBA Finals. They usually play them on ESPN News, where the media asks the coaches and the players questions. You want to talk about mindless questions? I mean, one question after another is just so ridiculous. I was sitting there laughing the whole time. After the Miami Spur game last night, I went over to ESPN News. I figured I'd get some baseball highlights, but they went right to the NBA stuff. They went to the press conference where all these guys in the media asked, the Miami players questions, the Spurs players questions, the coaches questions. And one question after another was mindless and I couldn't believe they let these people in the door. These are people in the media with media credentials. I couldn't believe it. I just could not believe how awful the questions were. To me, I don't need any of that stuff. I don't need the interviews during the game. I mean, Popovich is great with the interviews during the game. I mean, he just basically laughs at the questions. They're so ridiculous. I don't need interviews before the game. I don't need interviews during the game. And they do it in every sport. I don't need it in hockey during the game. Baseball, they go to the dugouts. Football, those interviews, in and out of the locker room before the game. I don't need any of that nonsense. The questions are so ridiculous. You know what I want the sideline reporters to do? Just update me on injuries during the game. That's it. Other than that, I don't want to hear anything else from you. And these post-game NBA media conferences, oh my, one mindless question after another. I just couldn't believe how awful the questions were. I was sitting there going, how did these guys get media credentials? Awful. So if you want to watch some comedy after tomorrow's game, Miami-San Antonio, go over to ESPN News and listen to the questions these guys ask. Unbelievably bad. That is your NBA. Let's go over to the NHL, where the Buzzards and the Vultures are circling Madison Square Garden as the LA Kings lead the series 3-0 over the New York Rangers. Game 4 tonight in the Garden. Kings won the last game 3-0. I mean, the Rangers in the last game had all sorts of opportunities, couldn't get anything going on the power play. Where is Nash? He's been invisible. And once the Kings scored the last game with less than a second to go in the first period to go up 1-0, you just felt all the enthusiasm go out of Madison Square Garden. I thought Quick was tremendous in the last game for LA. Rangers outshot LA by a lot, but Quick was outstanding. And now the Rangers are going to have one of the all-time comebacks in sports history to pull this off. Now listen, in hockey we have seen it a few times. Teams coming back from 3-0. LA just did it in the first round in this playoff series. They beat San Jose after falling behind 3-0. But make no mistake about it, this would be one of the greatest comebacks in NHL history. If I'm the Ranger coach, you know what I'm saying? Let's just get a game. Let's get a game tonight in our home building. Let's not let them celebrate on our home ice. And then you go from there, maybe you pick up some momentum. But how about the run the Kings are on? Unbelievable. They were down 3-0 to San Jose, down 3-2 to Anaheim. You know, they go to overtime in Game 7 against the Blackhawks after, Blackhawks were up by 2 goals 3 different times in that game. How about the first 2 games of this series? The Rangers are up 2 goals in Game 1. They're up 3 different times by 2 goals in Game 2. And the Kings just keep coming back. What a run by the Kings. They're 1 win away from their second cup in 3 years. That's your NHL. Game 4 tonight at the Garden. We'll see if the Rangers can stay alive. As far as Major League Baseball, a few series I've been keeping my eye on the last few days. Washington and San Francisco out in the Bay Area. Washington's taken the first 2. Washington's starting to play some decent ball. They're tied for first. Keep an eye on them. The Angels at home took the first 2 from Oakland, so the Angels are starting to creep up on the A's. And the White Sox beat Detroit 2 nights ago. Last night rained out. Detroit's stumbling and bumbling recently. They're letting that whole division catch up to them, including the White Sox. How about Abreu for the White Sox? Every time I look up, this guy's hitting a home run. And he was on the DL this year, and he's still got a bunch of home runs. I mean, every time I look up, Abreu for the White Sox is hitting a home run, or Cruz from the Orioles is hitting a home run. But this guy, Abreu, what power. So keep an eye on that. White Sox, Detroit tonight. Detroit not playing well. The College World Series is set for this weekend. The 8 teams that are alive. Here are the matchups. UC Irvine will play Texas. Louisville will play Vanderbilt. Texas Tech will play TCU. And Ole Miss will play Virginia. If you like some good baseball, tune into the College World Series. I do like the event. World Cup does start tomorrow. I know a lot of you guys get on me for talking about soccer. I played soccer most of my life, so I do like soccer. I understand a lot of you don't. But the World Cup does start tomorrow. 1 game tomorrow, Brazil against Croatia. Brazil, the home nation. Tomorrow I'm going to go through my picks for the World Cup. Real quick, I'll go through the brackets, tell you who I like for the World Cup. I think the U.S. is going to have all sorts of problems getting out of their group. Very difficult group. Germany, Portugal, and Ghana. U.S. is going to have all kinds of problems. I'll do a little World Cup with you tomorrow. Okay, you guys are all caught up. You guys are all set. Oh, actually, one baseball note I failed to mention. Bob Welch, the old-time Oakland A and Los Angeles Dodger pitcher, passed away at the age of 57 yesterday. Way too young. Bob Welch, a very good pitcher. I remember him on the Dodgers and the A's. Bob Welch, you will be missed. So I wanted to get that little note in there. You guys are all caught up. You guys are all set. You guys enjoy the Stanley Cup final tonight. We'll see if the Rangers can stay alive or are the Kings going to be celebrating. I will talk to you tomorrow. We'll recap that game. We'll touch a little bit on NBA Game 4 and everything else going on in the sports world. Stay safe. Enjoy the games tonight. Talk to you soon. Take care.